Welcome back to the Two Comma Club podcast. Today, Chris and I are joined by Dr. Travis Zigler. He is an amazing individual who has had quite the range of experiences throughout his career, and I'm excited to dive into all of those. He is currently helping people do ads in his agency space and a lot of other really cool things with that nature. So, Travis, if you could kind of tell the audience a little bit more details around what it is that you do and how you can help or add value to them, that'd be great.
Okay, well, where do we start? But first of all, John, Chris, thanks for having me on. I always like talking to another fellow with a red beard. So, for those that can't see
Right?
it, this is the Red Beard Club right here. So what do I do?
Love it.
That's a great question. I always struggle with that one, like the elevator pitch of like you have 11 seconds, go. Um, so my main business is I have an investment fund where we buy brands. It's very small right now, but that's kind of the end goal. Our goal with that investment fund is to sell for a $100 million exit by the time I turn 50, which is 10 years from now. So our goal is to build that up. And how we're getting brands into that, we have one brand right now. We're in talks with two other brands, is I have an agency. Our agency is called Profitable Pineapple Ads, and we serve 22 clients. We're a very small boutique agency in the e-commerce space. So we help with Amazon PPC, Amazon ads, Google ads, and help you build your email list. And our whole goal around that is to promote your Amazon business. And so I don't do Google ads or email list building for Shopify, even though you get kind of that as a side benefit. But everything we do pushes to Amazon because Amazon loves that external traffic from email lists, from Google ads and everything. And that boosts your organic rank, which boosts your profits. So my agency helps with that. We help 22 clients at a time. We're a small team. We had built that up to a very large agency. I absolutely hated it, so I shrunk it back down. And the whole goal is I want to fill every one of those seats that we're serving with a brand that I own within the next 10 years. And that all started because I started a brand in 2015 and we sold it in 2021 for a multi-million dollar exit. My wife and I did. It was in the eye care space, and we had a dry eye brand. And the reason we had a dry eye brand is because before that, I was an optometrist. So I owned two brick and mortar practices, and my wife ran one, I ran the other. Well, we ran them both, but we kind of rotated back and forth between the two practices, and we sold those in 2017 to go all in on this. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, I'm sure, but that's kind of my last 10 years in a nutshell.
That's awesome. I love the fact that different businesses you've been in. I think that's awesome. And obviously looking towards the future from an investing standpoint, I really love that. And I think that's exciting. We'll dive into that a little bit, but if you don't mind just backing up a little bit, let's unpack a little bit. In my mind, like how do you go from an optometrist, which I know some optometrists and they're not really marketers or just, that's just not their thing. So how'd you go from kind of getting in that world to selling out and to getting into e-commerce?
Yeah. So the funny thing is, they're like, you nailed it spot on. Like optometrists, if you guys know the DISC profile, DISC, dominant, influence, steadiness, compliance.
Mhm.
Entrepreneurs tend to be on that dominant influence side, the D and the
Yeah.
I, whereas in like most people, like operators, tend to be on the S and C side, the steady and compliant side. And we did that profile in optometry school, and we had 66 people in our class, 60 people in our class. Two of us were DNIs, the other 58 were S&Cs. And so you nailed it. Like
Wow.
optometrists do not like to market. They just like the steadiness of asking people what's better, one or two. Well, sorry to all you optometrists out there. I'm one too. A monkey could do that job. It is so easy to say what's better, one or two. It's a joke how easy it is. I hated that part of my job. I swore if I ever did optometry again, I would never do that. And I still practice optometry in third world countries. I do a couple mission trips a year, and I will not do refraction, which is what that's called, the one or two thing. I only do disease and other things. I help with kids, but that's a whole rant. But to go back to what you're saying and the whole purpose of your question, uh, I got out of optometry school in 2010. I worked at a practice that my uncle owned, and it was Dr. Zigler, and Zigler. So there's four of us, and it was a family practice. And after 4 years of that, after 3 years of that, I just felt this itch to do more. And this itch was just it just burned. And you guys know the entrepreneur bug. And I didn't know what an entrepreneur was at that time. And I just felt like something was off. So my wife and I did the three things you're not supposed to do, especially all at once. We quit our jobs. We moved across the country from Ohio to South Carolina. And then we started two businesses. And those two businesses were just two practices. One, they were about 40 miles apart. And I went from seeing 6 patients an hour at my uncle's clinic because it's so well established. It's from 1950s when it started, to this brand new practice where I was seeing 1 patient per hour. And so I was bored. And so entrepreneurs, when they're bored, they tend to get distracted, busy, get themselves into trouble. And I found a course called Amazing Selling Machine. Probably some viewers have heard of that. And it just teaches you how to sell on Amazon. And I took that course and we launched a sunglass brand in 2015. By 2017, I realized that selling plastic widgets from China is not sustainable, that the market's going to become saturated, which it's crazy saturated now. And I pivoted into creating a dry eye brand, serving an actual person, serving somebody that has a problem, and that's creating a real brand. That's an entrepreneur. And the first thing I did was an opportunist. Like you found an opportunity, you exploited it, you made a lot of money out of it, but it's gone now. Whereas in like I saw dry eye as a big problem and just started building a brand around that. So we started building this dry eye brand, and our practices were climbing 20 to 30% year over year. A nice linear growth pattern. We got it up to about $500,000, $600,000 per year by the time we sold it. But our e-commerce brand, we did 100,000 the first year. We did 1.2 million the second year. And so we were like, okay, we should probably go all in on this. And so that's when we sold our practices and went all in. So to answer your question, that was a long story. I like to rant, by the way. Long story short, I was bored. And I learned marketing as a result.
I love that. That's so awesome. There's so much to be said about people who are lifelong learners and how much that's going to take you down the road in terms of your success and opportunities that you have to really live life to its fullest. And so one of the things that I am curious about is like during those experiences of making those transitions and everything, what was it kind of like in the day to day? What were the pain points you were experiencing, and then how did you mentally overcome those hurdles and those obstacles?
Yeah, so everybody wants the freedom that we have as like internet entrepreneurs until they actually have it, and then they kind of become paralyzed. And so my wife and I have always been extremely disciplined. And so when we were building this brand at first, it was we'd wake up in the morning, we would work out, and then we'd work on this online brand for like 1 to 2 hours. We'd go see patients for about 8 to 9 hours, and then we'd come home and we work on it for another 3 to 4 hours. We were extremely disciplined. And once we lost the practice, or not lost the practice, once we sold the practices, we now had all this time. And when you have this time and freedom, it's very hard to like, it's paralyzing because you don't know what to do. And when people get this freedom, it's crippling because freedom isn't just being able to do whatever you want whenever you want. Freedom actually comes from scheduling, like scheduling what you're going to do and when you're going to do it creates the freedom that you desire. And so that's why people are okay with their jobs, because it creates that structure. Whereas in like when you have freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want, it's paralyzing. When you have freedom to live wherever you want to live, it causes you to move about 7 times in 10 years, which is what we did. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I think it does.
Yeah, definitely. I think that one of those obstacles you were referencing that was a pain point at the time was making sure that you were disciplined enough to actually like schedule it all out. And I couldn't agree more. I think that the periods of time where I've had the most success is when I've actually had like a physical planner and have just like scheduled not necessarily every minute of every day, but at least put my priorities in it and kind of time blocked and things of that nature. And so that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the big one, is just schedule.
I think it is, like you said, freedom. I just want to kind of piggyback on that a little bit, Travis, is freedom is awesome, but it's like, what do you do with it? And one of the things you touched on real quick, I don't mind if you wouldn't mind diving in, and maybe you would, but I mean, this is one of the things I'm real passionate about is giving back. And you mentioned, doing some mission trips. I love that. One of my big things that people talk to me more than 5 minutes, micro loans. I love investing, love talking about third world countries and helping them get started. To me, that's really exciting. It really turns me on. So I saw, if you don't mind sharing, like so giving back some of your skills and what you did, how'd you get involved with that and doing mission trips and kind of giving back from what you know and your skill set, you and your wife?
Yeah, so
If you're interested in learning more about the tidbits and advice that they have, then you should consider subscribing to the 2 Comma Club newsletter, where you'll get daily updates and advice, on the podcast and the things that we are learning from the individuals who have made at least $1 million. Just go to 2ccnewsletter.com or click the link in the description down below and subscribe.
Going back to what I talked about a little earlier is most entrepreneurs are not real entrepreneurs. They are opportunists. They see an opportunity and they just try to exploit that as much as possible, try to get as much money as possible. It's filled, like in this space, there are so many opportunists. They're not real entrepreneurs. They don't have a deeper why. And if you don't have a deeper why, you'll fold, you'll fail. And I remember when I started this in 2015, like this whole like e-commerce Amazon game, I was in mastermind groups, like we all are, groups of people that get together to discuss like-minded things to enhance our brands. My first 3 mastermind groups, none of those people are in this space anymore because they were opportunists. They weren't true entrepreneurs. And so I'm still here because I had a deeper why. And my deeper why is to help the 1 billion people, that's B billion, that are blind due to lack of glasses. And so, for those that don't know it, in third world countries, they don't have access to glasses like you and I do. And one of the biggest reasons for blindness is just simply age. As we get older, we lose the ability to see up close. So, we need a pair of reading glasses to put on. Happens to 100% of people. And then, as it gets worse, then you need them for distance as well. So, you need distance and reading glasses. Now, a pair of reading glasses that you and I could go to Dollar General, Walmart, Kroger, anywhere and pick up for $1 and put on, we can see again. They don't have access to that. And so we go to third world countries. We go on 1 to 2 trips a year. We've done 17 total trips. We've performed 30,000 eye exams, somewhere around there. We've also donated to these trips. And that is our why. That is the deep rooted meaning and why we do everything that we do. And that got put into our hearts accidentally. In 2007, my wife and I did our first mission trip out to Ecuador. It's the first time I'd ever been out of the country. And we went to this rural area in Ecuador, slums. I mean, houses were made out of scrap metal and like wood pallets. And I saw a patient there. He had extreme glaucoma, pressures of 80, a normal pressure for your eyes about 20. And so you could imagine pressure on a closed structure that's high hurts a lot. And so he was in a lot of pain. I brought his pressure down. We couldn't restore the sight in that eye, of course, but it still relieved his pain. And this is a hard-nosed farmer in his 80s. And he fell to his knees crying and he just grabbed me. And that was like when my life changed. It was like, okay, I know why I'm here. And even though I don't practice optometry anymore, I still go on 1 to 2 trips a year. We're getting ready to go on one in about 2 months to the Bahamas. And we focus mostly in the Caribbean. But that deeper why is why I do what I do. I also have an incredible passion for feeding children. I don't know where that came from. That was just kind of like, why shouldn't they have meals? And so we also feed a lot of kids. So we've adopted, right now, we have 133 kids that we provide 3 meals a day to every
That's
single
awesome.
day, month
Well,
over
that's
month.
all.
And
I love that.
we're trying to get to 200 by the end of the year. And then we still do our eye exams too. So those are my 2 big whys. And that's where most people are missing, because when you're having a hard day, if you don't have that deep reason to do something, then you're going to stop. You're going to fail, you're going to fold. So all of my businesses align with that why. Profits go back and funnel. We have a nonprofit. It's called the I Believe Foundation. A lot of profit goes back to that, and that helps us go on these mission trips. We have, like, every business I have funnels back into that, and so that's our whole goal. And if you don't have that, even if it doesn't have to be as large as mine. Like, it doesn't have to be as like helping 1 billion people. It's a crazy number, and who knows if I'll ever get it. But you got to have it. But simply, like, our dry eye brand was, we wanted to help 1 million people heal dry eye naturally. It can be as simple as that. And if you wake up every day on fire about that mission, that's what matters. So when Amazon takes down your product, you go out of stock, Facebook suspends your ad account, whatever happens, you still are like, that's the mission. So it doesn't matter if I hit this little hiccup, I'm still going to continue forward. So my current mission, not my charitable mission, but like our current mission for our brands that we're running right now, is to sell for $100 million by the time I turn 50. However, we're also trying to make it so fun that we don't want to sell it.
I love that. I love everything that you just said. That was probably one of my favorite moments on this whole podcast, as we've done, over 30 episodes so far, and touching on that why. That is such a powerful thing, for all of our listeners. Like, you clearly have yours dialed in, Travis, and like you can see how it's serving you in action, but it's going beyond you and it's serving the world, right? And that is just, I commend you for that. That is so powerful. The moment Chris and I tapped into our whys, we've been able to start doing things of that nature. But the level to which you're helping people is just, it's phenomenal. So to take a side step back to the marketing side of things, all of that phenomenal. Again, I commend you for that. The other marketing side of things, how did you go about getting discovered in the space that you're in, with your practice, and then also the agency that you managed to pull together?
Yeah, so I developed a system that I kind of stole from a bunch of people. So like you guys learned from Russell. I also learned from Ezra Firestone and Ryan Moran. Those are like my three mentors. And I've kind of taken things that I've learned from all these people and morphed it into my own machine. I call it my Perpetual sales machine. And the cool thing about the Perpetual sales machine is it works for any industry. I've done it for a wholesale brand on Amazon where you buy products for a low price and you sell them on Amazon. I've done it for a sunglass brand on Amazon, which is like a commodity brand selling plastic widgets from China. I did it for a dry eye brand, so like a consumable supplement business. That's what it works best for, by the way, is supplement and consumable businesses. And that's what we're trying to buy now is other supplement businesses. It worked for my agency, Profitable Pineapple Ads. We built a Perpetual sales machine for that as well. And when we bought the brand that we just bought last year, our first brand in our Freedom Brands portfolio, that brand, all we did was we implemented the Perpetual sales machine, and it will literally grow 20 to 30% year over year without us doing anything else. If we didn't release new products or do anything, it will just grow, because when you put the machine in place, it just takes care of itself. And so that's all we focus on, is when we buy a brand, we just put this Perpetual sales machine system in place. And it's we create a blog, or you can call it an advertorial or something like that, sales page. We call it a blog about the problem that your product solves. That's it. So we just bought an acid reflux brand. So we have about 3 to 4 articles on acid reflux. And on these articles, we advertise our product or service. So we have a supplement that's for, I can't say that technically because of FDA structure function claims, but for simplicity of this podcast, it's an acid reflux supplement. And so you've been to websites before where Google AdSense is all over it and there's just ads everywhere. So we're essentially doing that, not as spammy, but instead of Google AdSense ads in there, it's banners of our product. So we'll write an acid reflux blog. It will educate people on acid reflux, and then it will have our product in the blog as the pictures. And then after that, we just send traffic to it. Google Ads traffic. That's the easiest one because you can keyword base it. So like we'll target acid reflux and we'll get clicks to that blog. And then when they click the banners, it goes over to buy on Amazon. You can take it to your Shopify store. You can take it wherever you want. But it's essentially a Google ad to a sales page or a blog post, and then the banner ads go over to Amazon to buy. Because we know that if we send somebody searching for acid reflux to a blog about acid reflux, they're probably interested in a supplement called Reflux Essentials. And that's just kind of, you're just kind of getting in the brain of them. And then we have a pop-up on the blog. The pop-up asks them a couple questions and then asks for their email address. So we try to get 2 yeses with questions. So it's like, do you have stomach problems with pizza and coffee? Yes. Do you want our free acid reflux guide? Yes. Put your email address in here. Click yes. So we're getting 2 yeses and then a third yes with the email address. And then we present our product at the end of that pop-up too. Just like, oh, hey, your acid reflux guide's in the mail. Check out this product in the meantime. So another exposure of our product. And now we have them on an email list. They're already on our blog about acid reflux. And now we're just going to email them slowly. So another quick example. I have a free Amazon PPC course. We used to have it broken down by blogs and topics and what people would ask around Amazon PPC. So like number one thing that gets asked is like, how do you do keyword research? So we would target keyword research on Amazon, on Google. It would go to an article about how to do 7 steps to keyword research on Amazon. And it would have everything step by step. And then our product would be, or our service would be advertising on that. We'd have a pop up to get our whole free Amazon PPC course. It's a 6 hour long course. It's free on YouTube. And we'd have a pop up for that. And then they're on our email list. It's the same concept. That's for a service industry, for Amazon PPC agency services. And then we also I showed you how to do it for a physical products brand. And we call that our Perpetual sales machine. And it's that simple. You can do this for a brick and mortar store. You can do this for absolutely anything. And it works so incredibly well. And the reason it works is because when you focus on the problem that your product solves, problem-based keywords on Google are significantly cheaper. And so you're just getting a ton of volume to your blog. Whereas if you go after product-based keywords, it's going to cost more. One more quick example. Eye care brand. We had a dry eye brand. A sty is the problem. A sty is a red bump. It's a swollen eyelid gland that's infected. And our product helped with that. You'd use an eyelid wipe, and then you'd spray our hypochlorous acid spray, and then you'd put a warm compress on it. So we had an article called The 3 Steps on How to Get Rid of a Sty. We'd target sty. They'd come over, land on the article. We'd have a pop-up, get their email address, but then send them over to Amazon to purchase the product. And that's how we built the dry eye brand, because you're just trying to build emails. And with that brand, we actually got the email list up to about 150,000 people before we sold it. And we're getting 100 to 200 emails a day on that brand. Actually, we're getting 200 to 300 emails a day on that brand. With Dr. Barry's, the new brand that I just bought, we're getting about 100 emails a day. And so it's just, okay, let me go back to that one. So going back to product versus problem-based keywords from Google, a problem-based keyword would be sty. Low cost per click because nobody's bidding on sty. A product-based keyword would be eyelid wipes. Eyelid wipes are a product, $1 to $2 cost per click. But a sty, 2 cents. So I can get tons of people on my blog about the problem.
Wow.
So that's why we focus on problem-based keyword. But that is my entire business, and how I've done millions in sales in a nutshell is we just implement that strategy. That's it.
I love that. I love, Travis, the simplicity of it. That's just how my brain's wired, is how we keep it simple. John and I talk about this all the time: systems or checklist or easy fulfillment. I think that's brilliant. It really is. But I do see how you're giving value on the front end. Here's an article about it. You know what I mean? And so, regardless whether you buy the product, here's some value about the article. But then, like you said, giving something tangible that obviously translate into a sale. I think that's brilliant. So I like that. I like that simplicity model. Just going back to that, like once you got people on your email, I'm just curious because John and I are marketing guys, as we always think about and talk about. So once you kind of get discovered or that keyword search, I guess my brain goes next to how do you nurturing those? So now you have 100, 200 emails a day. How are you nurturing that sequence? Are you giving them more value, or how are you connecting with people to ultimately buy from you guys?
Yeah, great question. So I love email. Email is one of the most underutilized marketing things in this world. And it's so funny because it's like one of the first things that ever came online, and nobody uses it because it's quote unquote hard. It's easier than ever with ChatGPT and all these AI softwares. Like it's so easy now, and yet people don't do it still. And so to answer your question, I usually do a short welcome sequence, and it's pretty much like whatever they opted in for, it's gonna give them that first, and that has like a 90% open rate because they literally just ask for it, and you just tell them, hey, go check your email and open it up. So we give them that, and then I'll usually start to introduce my story and leave a little cliffhanger at the end. And then I usually do a daily email for the first like 3 to 7 days, depending on how long my welcome sequence is. And that usually is like a more detailed story in email two about why I produced what I produced or why I do what I do. And then number three, I'll usually start to talk about like who I do it for and like the who I serve. And then number four, I'll sometimes ask them to follow me on other social medias or whatever, or I'll just go straight for the sale. and just say, hey, like for my agency, you have to apply to work with us. We're small, 22 clients served, and that's it. And I think we're at like 20 right now, just because we gave 2 people the boot recently. But we ask for the application, and it's as simple as that. If you're doing over $1 million a year online, apply to work with us here. And then what we do is Travis Sago, he's a great email copywriter, and he calls it the triangle of insight. It's where you have a story related to something that's going on in your daily life, and then you spin it to then say, oh yeah, and that reminded me to blah, 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 apply here to work with us. So like my email this week. So I send out an email on Tuesdays. That's my personal email following the triangle of insight. Story that happened in my life, get it over to apply to work with me. And then Monday, we have a YouTube video that comes out. So we email about that. Wednesday is the drip sequence, which I'll get into in just a little bit. Friday is the drip sequence, which is kind of going to answer your question as well too. And then Thursday is a sales email where we're just trying to get them to apply. And the drip sequence, again, the 7-day welcome. And then all we do is we drip, because they opt in for a free Amazon PPC masterclass, and we just drip each chapter to them one by one. So the first email they get is the 6-hour course. If you go to my YouTube channel, it's Dr. Travis Zigler, or you can search Profitable Pineapple. You'll see the whole 6-hour training. And then we break it down by chapter. And so we'll send every week a breakdown of that, with usually sprinkled in with offers. So like Wednesday will be the video, Friday will be either an offer or an affiliate offer or something else in that drip sequence window. So we send 5 emails a day or a week, just to really keep engaged. I write the Tuesday one, and then I have a ghostwriter that writes the rest. And yeah, it's super simple. Like that's a lot, and I have a team that helps me, but start with 1 email a week. That's it. 1 email a week. That's all you need to do. And the cool thing about this is, like, when you write that email, you can then add it to your drip sequence if it makes sense to. And then your drip sequence after 2-3 years is like 2 or 3 years long. And so it's not hard to compound your work. Whereas most people are just like, I have to write an email every week. That's going to take forever. It takes like an hour. And not even. It takes like 30 minutes now with ChatGPT if you want to be really lazy. But and I don't mind using ChatGPT. I have a channel that's trained to talk exactly like me. And I usually talk my emails now. I'll say them in ChatGPT, and then it will spit it out in exactly my voice. And it's great. But see, tangents. But yeah, but that's pretty much what we do with email. But like I said, if someone's listening to that and be like, wow, that's a lot, just do 1 a week. That's it. 1 a week, add it to your drip sequence. And then you can nurture them with a welcome sequence, and just look up welcome sequence online. There's a million trainings on it. Some good, some bad. And then you drip out after that and just ask subtly for applications or sales. And so like a product-based business, every other email is usually a go buy our product email, but not quite that intense. It's triangle of insight, story to offer. And so we don't just say 20% off, buy now. It's like, hey, I'll go just real briefly. So to kind of clarify, this Tuesday's email was about my workout last Saturday. And so I'm a part of this men's group here in Columbus. You guys should join. You guys are here. And we get together once a month.
Yeah.
We work out, and then we go over scripture together. And it's intense. It
I
was
love
12
that. I
degrees
love
this
that.
last weekend. 12-degree workout outside, doing burpees in the snow, freezing my hands off. And I talked about that. I talked about the experience, how grueling it was, and it gradually morphed into applying to work with us.
I love that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to know more about that group and get involved in it. That sounds awesome. We'll have to talk about that offline here. So I understand the process top to bottom now of getting discovered, nurturing your audience, getting them on your email list, and all of that, all the way through making the offer. Is this the same process that you utilize when helping the clients in your agency space?
So, specifically with my agency, we focus first on Amazon ads. So, Amazon PPC, Amazon DSP, if we use that, that's at 2 different platforms. And then we also build out the whole Google Ads to a sales page to Amazon for them as well. And then we'll build their email list up, but we will not write the emails yet. that may be something we'll add in the future. But if you guys, I mean, you guys know email writing is like, it's intimate, number one. It's personal to each brand. And some brands are just like, yeah, I don't care what you send, just send it. And they trust us. Other brands, like we do it for 2 clients right now, and that was our test. And the other one like goes back and forth about little things. And it's just like, no, like it's very hard to do that for a client without charging a ton of money. So
Yeah.
we don't do that last part. We'll set up a welcome sequence, but it's on them to kind of continue that. But getting the email on the list, we do help with that. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I want to touch on something that really, to be honest with you, I struggle with. And I would just really want to pick your brain, Travis, if you don't mind giving a couple 2 cents on this. But I just feel we're kindred spirits in that way. I just want to give back and help people. I feel you're probably the same way. My mentor, Bart Allen, said, "Hey, I appreciate you wanting to give all the value away, but you got to charge for it." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well," and it took me a while to get to this, but and to be vulnerable. People who pay attention. You know what I mean? So obviously, if you got people who group, you can give away a lot of knowledge, but it's not really helping people if they can't, put it to use. So I like something you said a little bit ago, like, hey, if you're doing $1 million online space, we can help you because you already got a ship that's moving. It's going to be easy to steer. So for me, I was really guilty. I don't know if you've been of giving away a ton of value, trying to help people, and then I'm just not charging for it. All I'm doing is get a little frustrated because people aren't taking my advice. They aren't implementing things. Have you had that experience with your folks and what you're doing, or how do you work with that, or how do you kind of overcome that? Just from a personal standpoint, I'm interested in your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's a great question, by the way. It's one of those things that I had a feeling this question was going to come up. Um, I I tried to put things behind like paywalls and all that, and I just felt I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So I give absolutely everything away for free on my YouTube channel. You do not have to hire me. You do not have to come see me. You don't have to do anything. You watch that course, it will give you 6 hours of my I made it because it's an SOP for my account managers. And it's not like I made it for the world. I just gave it to the world because I made it for my strategic brand consultants, is what we call them. And I made it for an internal SOP. And the funny thing is, I have a community as well. It's $1,000 a month to join it. And then I have, of course, our agency. And you kind of ascend up. So if you're doing 100,000 or more a year, you join the community. If you're doing 1 million or more per year, you have us do it for you. And usually people ascend through that. So if you're doing under 100,000, just go through the YouTube training. You'll get all you need. And again, it's all for free. If you join my coaching program and community, it's the 6 hour course broken down by chapters. That's it. I mean, there's nothing different about it. Absolutely nothing. But you get to get on a call with me every Tuesday in a group coaching setting where I call out every single person and see what they're struggling with and work them through that. And so it's a 2 hour call every Tuesday. And I have about 20 people in that community right now. So it's not huge. It's very intimate as well. I like smaller brands, charge more. But I give everything away, and I will give you everything away for free, and then I will sell the implementation of it. And so if you hire a coaching program, we actually help you launch, but then it's on you to continue it. And then if you hire our agency, we do it all for you. And that's where I want to be, is in a place of implementation versus a course salesman, because you can get everything online for free. And yeah, it's just, I've always felt like that. I would rather sell the implementation of it than to sell the actual course itself.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and it really goes to show more of your character there, and how you're like, for those who are actually going to partake in this, you can come get the information. It's available, but then also I'm willing to extend a helping hand if you guys are actually committed to the process, which is awesome. Um, so in terms of your mission and stuff, where is it that people can go to get involved in helping make that happen?
Yep. Thanks for letting me do that. I believe Foundation is our website. You can learn a little bit more about that. I, as in like an eyeball, EYE, believe Foundation. And you can always donate to us there, or reach out to me. There's an email on that. I think it goes to my wife actually. But um, if you ever want to go on a volunteer mission trip with us, I would be happy to take anybody. And here's the cool part about our mission trips: we team up with Sandals Foundation. Sandals is a 5-star all-inclusive resort in the Caribbean. So we stay at Sandals when we go on these trips. And so you usually pay $1,000 towards the charity, so it's a tax deduction. And that gets you on the trip. And it's 10 days. We get 2 days before and then 2 days after. And then we work the middle 6, and you get to enjoy Sandals Resort. When you're done working for the day, you go back home to a Sandals, go to a 5-star steakhouse, 5-star sushi restaurant. So it's great. It's great. So if you want to volunteer with that, it's like $1,000 to go, and then you pay for your flight. So it ends up being $2,000 for 10 days at Sandals. Plus you're in the Caribbean helping people. I pay for my whole team to go. So if my team wants to go, I pay their way to go, because it's one of those things that if you've never been on a mission trip like that, it will change your life. You actually think you're helping them. It's
Yeah.
the opposite. They help you much more than you help them. You're just giving them a pair of glasses, but they like feed your soul. And the way you feel after a mission trip, even after doing 17 of them, you just feel different, and you get addicted to that feeling. And like when you go home, it's a hard high to come down. I've sold a business for multi-million dollars. I've seen millions of dollars hit my bank account, and it is not as good as how you feel when you're on a mission trip.
I 100% agree with that. That's been my experience as well. And it's hard to describe that to somebody because then they think you're a little goofy, but it really is hard to put that to words. But yeah, once you experience that, it's exciting. And it really is. Like I said, you're helping people, but in the day, it really blesses you. And I think that's where it comes out. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for giving that as well. I guess for you, here's what I find a lot of people. I love you talking about your why. It's something John and I talk about in our group we're in all the time. The first thing we start out with your why, and really helping people hone in on that. I think that's super important. I know that's what's driving you. How are you communicating that to your group? Because same thing, people in your group aren't going to be around in a few years if they don't have a big enough why. I believe that sounds like you do too, Travis. How are you sharing that with your group or putting it out there to let them know how important their why is, or and maybe just go back to how you came to your why, for example.
My why was accident. Like I was on a mission trip, and it just like hit me, like I told the story earlier, and it's just like, okay, this is legit. My wife always makes fun of me because I don't cry. She says, and like I was bawling, like I was like crying like baby tears, like it was just like uncontrollable sobbing. Like I had to go leave the clinic to like recoup. But um, that is one of the first steps of my Amazon PPC course. And when you're in the community as well, it's like step one. And I even give them a chat GPT prompt to write their why. I want it to be as simple as
I
possible.
love it.
And it has to be as simple as possible, but you put this chat GPT prompt in, and you type in like what you really want to be doing. And it spits out this whole like one-page thing. And I tell people, like, if you read this every single day, twice a day, your life will change. And a quick example of that is I'm a third of a partner in this one business that I teamed up with an influencer on. And I made her why. Like I didn't make it, I made it with her, but using this chat GPT prompt. And her big why is she wants to empower women to obtain freedom of location, time, and money. And the reason, the how is we teach them how to mystery shop. And if you guys don't know what mystery shopping is, it's where like Chipotle down the street hires you to come in and just analyze. You order this and that, and then you go through it, and then you fill out a report afterwards. You send it in, you get your meal covered, and then you get paid like $20. It's super simple. And her why is to help people get out of their 9 to 5 job, because you can make $50,000 working 25 hours a week mystery shopping, and it's not hard. Plus, you get all your food paid for, your groceries. She's even had cruises paid for, hotels, airfare, everything paid for because she's a mystery shopper. So we started just teaching. I just said, like, just go over the stories of these mystery shops. And her TikTok took off. She's got 150,000 followers now. And we created a course around teaching people how to mystery shop. It's easy. People come for the content, and then they stay for the community. They just want to, because it's $97 a month. It's a lot cheaper than my community, but um, but anyway, going back to your question, another tangent. Her so we were doing about $3,000 a month on average in that community, 3,000 MRR, monthly recurring revenue. And it was consistently 2,500 to 3,000, 2,500 to 3,000. And we had that. We started it last May, and that's what we were doing in December, 2,500 to 3,000, like every single month without fail. And in January, I think it was like November, December, we printed out this why. And I said, you read this every day, twice a day. So she started to do it. January comes, still the same thing, same results. First week, second week, and then all of a sudden it happened. Something hit. We figured out like the marketing angle. We figured out the email system. We figured out just a lot more. We're now averaging $2,000 in new MRR per day for the last 2 weeks.
Nice.
So we went
nice.
from 2,500 to 3,000 MRR. We're now doing 15,000 MRR. And it was because she knew her why. She's reading it every day, and it just changes your psyche. So when you have that why and you read it every single day, mine's just a little strip of paper that I keep in my bookmarks. I keep it in my planner. I keep it right here on my desk, and I read it twice a day. And if you have that, it will just become so embedded in your subconscious, which is more important than your conscious, that you can't fail. Like you just can't, because your subconscious is what's holding you back with everything. Because you're like, I'm going to go make $1 million this year. And your subconscious is like, I don't think so. No, you're not. No, you're not.
That's
And
true. That's true.
when you embed in your subconscious, which you're not even aware of, when you embed in that you're going to make $1 million because you truly believe it, because you're reading it every single day, it changes everything. And Kayla is a perfect example of that. That's the mystery shopping course. If you guys want to follow her, Kayla Laughs Out Loud on TikTok. Hilarious. She's a comedian. And so her videos are crazy, and she's got this deep chuckle. And so that's, people love her. And so it's been eye-opening, but pretty awesome at the same time. But yeah, you just got to believe in your why, and you got to repeat it over and over again.
I love
Yeah,
it.
I couldn't agree any more about that. I personally had a wild experience with it the first time that I kind of dialed it in. I decided to, kind of start this whole personal brand thing, and I made the first video ever with my face on it. And as a result of, having said that why, I actually put it out there. And when I put it out there, to my surprise, it actually went viral. Very, very first video ever, and like made over 1 million views in the first 30 days. Brought me a client for like 10K and things of that nature to help me pay bills that I had to pay that month that I didn't have the money for. And it really, it can change lives. And I just wanted to second that. So for anybody who's, listening, you need to look into that and at least spend a little bit of time brainstorming it, and maybe even use the prompt that Travis has. So if you wouldn't mind sharing what that prompt is, that'd be really cool if you know it offhand.
Off the top of my head, no, it's very long.
Okay, that's fine.
I can send it to you
Awesome.
to put it in the show notes.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be perfect. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, for sure. So, as we're ending the month of January here in 2025, what goals are you aiming for this year, in your business and in your personal life, to knock out in 2025?
So personal life, my wife's writing a book and starting a community of her own. And so my goal is to get her on the New York Times bestseller list, as well as start to build her community. And so she's going to start a community around the problem that she's trying to solve. And her book's going to do that as well. It gets released May 2nd. So that's a big, I would say, marriage goal. Just like working with her to do that, because when we sold I Love, it kind of took her purpose away. And she was in a funk for, it's 2024 last year, and she was in a funk for 3 years after that. And so one day I just sat her down and I was just like, if you could do anything for the rest of your life, what would it be? Anything. And she told me, and I was like, that sounds miserable for me. Great for you. I will help you any way I can. And so that conversation turned into writing a book, to starting a community. We're actually launching the community tomorrow, which is going to be great.
Oh,
And then the book gets released May 2nd, which is about 3 months from now or 4 months from now. I don't know. My date's 3 months. Yeah. So that's personal goal number one. Personal goal number two, I always like to take my family on at least 2 epic vacations a year. Epic being 1 to 2 weeks of just something that's a lot of fun. So we just got back from California, and we went out there for the winter, because you guys know Central Ohio winters are terrible. And we were out there for 1 week in the desert, 1 week in San Diego, and then Ohio State made the Rose Bowl, so we ended up extending the vacation and going to the Rose Bowl as well. And so epic vacation.
Nice.
We had a pool. It was great. Um, Time before that, we went to Disney World down in Orlando for 2 weeks, and we just tried to take these big vacations. And so we're staying in the States or Mexico for now because our kids are young; they're 4 and 7. Until they get old enough to go, the furthest we've gone is Hawaii, but we try to do 2 family vacations a year. So that's like personal side. Uh, Business side for the investment fund, we're trying to get to 1 million in EBITDA this year. Um, we're not even close, not even close, because we're trying to acquire 2 brands right now. One of them has 1 million in EBITDA, so we're going to try to get that 1 million in EBITDA through acquisition. And so that brand has been with my agency for 5 years. They were my first client in my agency, which is cool. And now we're trying to buy them and take over their brand because they have an amazing brand. And I think they're just ready. They're 70 and 83 years old, and so I don't think they're ready to walk away, but they're ready to stop managing the whole thing. And because 1 million in EBITDA is a big company, and especially for them, they have unlimited cruises for life. It's a crazy crazy thing they won, and they get to focus on that now. So our goal is to purchase a brand, get to 1 million in EBITDA, and then my agency just kind of runs itself. It's like I said, 22 clients. We don't shoot for revenue goals. We just shoot for 100% occupancy. That's it. And we make what we make on that. It's very consistent. It's very stable income. Our profit's the same every month. Everybody's payment's the same every month. It's a great business, but it's still an agency business. So I still have 22 bosses. And spiritual goals. I'm a big Christian. And so I wanted to start a men's group. And I came across my chiropractor who's in the Polaris area of Columbus, Ohio, close to all of us. If people are like, what's Polaris? It's close to all of us on this podcast. So that's why I brought it up. But through, I don't know, God put me in his office for a reason. I actually was at a chiropractor. I was all of a sudden like, I just need to find somebody else. And he led me to that guy who goes to my church. And he had this program called the Warrior 40 Project. And I went through it and I lost 10 pounds. And I'm a marathon runner. I run a lot. And so I didn't have much weight to lose, but I lost 10 pounds of fat and I actually started gaining muscle and I'm stronger than ever. And it's also got a lot of scripture in it, a lot of leadership principles. And I was like, I need to help this guy because he had no marketing. Amazing product, no marketing. And so I am now pursuing that from like a spiritual standpoint because we now have this men's group. We meet every Tuesday on a Zoom call, and then we meet once a month in person to just, it's called the WOD and the Word. We work out in the day, and then we study scripture. Or no, we do the workout of the day, which kills us. I talked about it earlier. And then we study scripture for like 20 minutes. And it's a lot of fun. So those are kind of my goals around spirituality, family, wife, and business.
I love it. I love hearing your goals. Like I said, it really can resonate with all of those things. So I love that how and all those goals have others involved, which I like. It's not just you hitting a number, which is a great way to keep score in business, but it all involves other people and you helping your wife, helping others in your business, helping your chiropractor friend to go to church with. Like I love that. That's what, my goals are very similar around that as well. So I love that. So man, there's a lot of content, a lot of things we covered. I really appreciate you just sharing with us, Travis, and what's going on in your foundation and with your wife. And man, I'm really praying awesome things for you guys this year. And like I said, I really think you guys have a great game plan, things dialed in, and you guys are giving people a ton of value. That just comes back in droves, I think. So, with that, what's the best way, particular people want to reach out to you? They heard something that struck them on this podcast, and they want to contact you, get with you. What's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, so we have an application on our website. So if you're in the e-commerce space, you can reach out to me, profitablepineapple.com, profitablepineapple.com. My direct email is Dr. Travis, DrTravis, at profitablepineapple.com. I'm on Facebook mostly. That's my most active platform. So you can find me, Travis Zigler, there. But before we go, I have one more thing that I think is interesting.
Please.
I've spent a lot of time in prayer this year, and my spirituality has been taking off a little bit more. And I started saying no to podcasts, like appearing on podcasts a year and a half ago. I just burnt out. I was on close to like 150 podcasts in the previous 4 years. and I was just kind of done. And I don't know what it was, but for some reason, you guys came across I think you DM'd me on Instagram or something
Yep.
like that. And I was like, yeah, I'll be on this podcast. And I don't know why I said yes. I don't call it divine intervention, and then I get on and you guys are like neighbors. And
Yeah.
so we're definitely going to make a point to actually meet up sometime and break
Yes,
some bread
for
together,
sure.
and
100%.
hopefully get you guys involved in the Warrior 40 project, because it's actually in
That sounds
Sunbury, which
awesome.
isn't
It
too
really
far from
does.
you guys. So
It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to do it and give a plug, whatever we can do to help out for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
would love it.
I think that God is definitely playing a heavy hand in this. I think about that all day, every day, and I'm even, wearing my cross like I do all the time. So 100%.
Yeah,
I'm
amen.
I'm excited. So I do have one final question for you before we go, and that is, in all of your business experience, life experience, and everything, like, what is the one superpower or ability that you have that you would say is kind of like your claim to fame in your success?
So I'm going to say 3 words. They kind of all go together. I'm kind of cheating. But focus, simplicity, and persistence. Because as entrepreneurs, and I fell for
I like
this
that.
when I first started entrepreneurship, I was everywhere. I would learn a new strategy here, a tactic there, a hack there, and I'd implement it right away. And it drove my team nuts, because like they're constantly like, oh, we just figured that out. Now we're doing this over here, and now we're doing this over there. And I like to make my businesses now incredibly boring, and they're persistent. And the number one reason for my success is my persistence. Like I will answer the same question thousands of times because the other person, my competitor, couldn't even answer it twice and it pissed him off. And that was the case with acid reflux. That was the case with dry eye. In Amazon PPC, all I do is answer the same questions over and over again in my coaching calls. And most people would give up because it's boring. And that's the point. If you make your business simple, focused, with persistence, you can't not lose. You have to win. And that's like the biggest thing that has been the key to my success. And the more boring and focused and persistent I am, the more money I make. It's as simple as that. And I have so much more time on my hands now because I have great people in place to help me with the boring processes. And I'm not saying my life is boring, but like it's one of those things that, like, if you make your business simple, focused, and persistent, it will grow. And stop trying this 100% growth year over year. 20%, 30% growth year over year is great. It's great.
Yeah. Keeps it way above inflation. I agree 100%. That's awesome. Man, Travis, great podcast today. Thanks for jumping on. Honored that you jumped on ours, not others. And I do think, from a standpoint of, spirituality, it's just been awesome. But also just being, we're in the same neck of the woods. I love that. So we'll definitely connect offline as well. So thanks so much. I really appreciate your time today, Travis.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on.